I was planning to speak about the Brahma Vihara of compassion today, which I will. A few weeks ago, I introduced the Brahma Viharas, and we talked a little bit about metta being the first of those divine abodes, and compassion is the second one. So I will get into that, but I'm really just drawn to talk about our situation here in the world, the global conflict, another spasm of violence that's erupted. I don't know about you, but maybe I do know about you. I mean, we can't be unaffected by this. You know, you're Dharma practitioners, so you don't turn away from these things. I know that's why you're here, is to connect to the one body, recognize your identity as being connected to all things. So, I've been talking since the beginning of the year, really, the last couple of months, about the shit that's hitting the fan and how it continues to hit the fan more and more. And I think more of this really tumultuous, really volatile activity is coming, whether it's geopolitics, whether it's horrors and atrocities being revealed, things like the Epstein files, abuses of power that have been going on for a long time being revealed, simmering conflicts that have been varying degrees of coolness or coldness or warmth, erupting into massive violence and destruction, with a lot of death, and a lot of death of innocence and innocent people. So these are very, very, very challenging times. And it's impossible for us not to be activated by this stuff, especially those of us who, don't turn away from it. So, anyone who's had violence in your life or been traumatized in that way, particularly violence perpetrated by somebody in an up power position, you're going to be triggered, by what's going on, obviously, over in the Middle East right now. Not to mention what's been going on in this country in terms of, the violence being perpetrated by paramilitary forces. If you've had, any sort of abuse or proximate to it, you're gonna feel in your body, what's going on with all of these Epstein revelations. I'm sure all of us feel it to a certain extent. But I hope that you all are not directly kind of triggered in that way. You very well may be, but that's very hard. But many, many people are. So our practice here is to take care of ourselves so we can take care of others who are more triggered, more activated, and suffering more than we are. We're not getting bombed. We're not in the line of fire. Or the line of abuse in some ways, although we may be in others. If we go out and stand in front of ICE actions, that can be the case too. But I really want to encourage all of us to be the warriors of light that we are, that the Dharma invites us to be, to take care of ourselves and to take care of others, help hold it and help meet it in the world. So as an entree into talking about this, I wanted to talk about the prayer for peace, which we just recited. This is how it goes. All Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, protectors of the Dharma and the three treasures, with all sentient beings, we lift our hearts to transform ignorance, violence, and suffering. May healing and peace prevail throughout the Dharma world. Smaha Prajna Paramita. So some of you know where this chant came from. This chant was composed by my teachers, Shishin Roshi and Roshi Shinko, right after 9/11 happened, the actual 9/11 event. When it happened, it was a Tuesday. Some of you might be too young to remember, but many of you not. It was a Tuesday morning. when it happened, Shishin Roshi was actually on a big bike trip up in the mountains. He'd been away for about a week. Actually, he was doing a multi-hundred-mile bike trip with his brothers, I believe. And Roshi Shinko was in town, and she was leading the Sangha. And she called us all together that day to come and pray. And what we prayed over, I'll share, is it was a painting of two towers with in flames, two towers in flames. And she had had a dream of this vision about, I think it was about a week before, and she had actually done a drawing of the painting, and then she did a painting of it. That's how vivid it was for her. And this, if some of you have seen her art, it's not like this. It's out of theme for her. That's how powerful the vision was for her, and she put it down. And I arrived at the place, literally a few hours after the event happened, and she shared it. She had done the painting about a few days before. So a prophetic vision of what had happened. And in the subsequent days after Roshi, Shishin Roshi came back from his trip, they composed this prayer, this chant together. And it's very powerful, and I wanted to kind of go through it and really appreciate all of its dimensions. With all oh no, that's not the beginning. All Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, protectors of the Dharma and the three treasures. Okay, so we're kind of invoking all Buddhas. That's awakened beings. Buddha means awakened one. So all awakened ones, all bodhisattvas, those awakening beings committed to helping others awaken and relieve from suffering, protectors of the Dharma and the three treasures. So those who have committed themselves to protecting and maintaining the three treasures of Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, the practice, the teachings, and community. We're invoking them. Okay. They're here right now. I'm looking in their faces. All of us Buddhas. All of us Bodhisattvas. All of us protectors of the Dharma and the three treasures. With all sentient beings, now we've widened it even more. We lift our hearts to transform ignorance, violence, and suffering. This is the most powerful part for me. We're not ending it. Can't end suffering, can we? First noble truth of Buddhism, life is suffering. We experience it as suffering. Right? Yeah. Can we end ignorance? How do we do that? How do we do that? Complete and utter clarity, a deep knowingness of reality for all beings in all times. It's not how this realm of reality is constituted, is it? Violence? Can we end violence? It's not a bad question. It's a good question. It's a worthy question, I think. But I look at the elemental nature. I mean, thunderstorms are violent, aren't they? There's destruction. There's death. There's violent death. In the animal kingdom, there's a lot of violence. Intentional violence, perpetrated. Okay? Now, is there cruelty? I don't think so. Not in the animal kingdom. Is there cruelty in the human realm? Oh yeah. Ignorance, violence, and suffering. Okay. We're not going to end suffering. But can we transform it? And how do we transform it? That's the question. That's what we're called to do. That is the point of the Dharma, the Buddha Dharma. So if we didn't have ignorance, violence, and suffering, we would have no need for the Dharma, no purpose, nothing to work with, but we do. And it is the very material of our practice. Ignorance, violence, and suffering. How do we transform these things? How do we transform ignorance into wisdom, violence into peace, suffering into compassion? Well, the first step is uttering this chant, invoking ourselves as awakening beings who desire this, right? Who desire this. If we don't ignite that desire, then it's not going to happen. And then it ends with, may healing and peace prevail throughout the Dharma world's Mahaprajna Paramita. Okay, may it prevail. May it prevail. There's so much power in these invocations when we together give voice to these visions. May this be true. May it be true. There's so much power in that. There's so much power in our consciousness to envision, desire, and then invoke this as a reality. May healing and peace prevail. You've experienced healing and peace, right? We've all experienced suffering, violence, ignorance. We've also, all of us, I'm sure, experienced healing and peace. So it's really important to remind ourselves and bring our attention continually to that which we want to foster. If we fixate on the bad stuff, we run the risk of resonating with the bad stuff and having that activate our system and activate our consciousness. Okay? And we lose capacity and we lose view. That's why I wanted to invite you in your first Zazen to do that first step of the karuna, compassion practice, which is always to give it to yourself first. Always. Find that capacity within yourself. So remember now, as I mentioned a few weeks ago, so the Brahma Viharas go from metta to karuna to mudita to upekkha, so it's loving kindness to compassion to sympathetic joy to equanimity. And it kind of has to go in that order because they get harder. They get harder and they get hotter. Or they can get hotter. So first it's just kindness, may all beings be healthy, happy, safe. Then it's the compassion side, which is, I feel your suffering. I'm trembling, I'm resonating to your suffering. Okay, this is where we can actually be really specific. We don't just say, oh, I'm compassionate to all beings. We can really feel the fear, the terror of people being bombed, the horror of kids being killed. Let's start with yourself. I mean, start with what you're suffering from. You have to start with what you're suffering from. And from that desire for that not to be, for that to go away arises. And then as you extend to other beings, then the desire for it to go away extends to other beings too. It's very natural, actually, right? It's like, this doesn't feel good, I don't want this. Yeah. Yeah, it's really natural. But it's so kind of tragic how we cut ourselves off from that. We can just kind of say, oh, well, this has to happen, or just ignore it and turn away from it. Yeah. May healing and peace prevail throughout the Dharma worlds. Mahaprajna Paramita. Mahaprajna Paramita, the great perfection of wisdom. The great wisdom that has gone to the other shore. Maha is great, prajna, wisdom, paramita, the perfection. The great perfection of wisdom. Wisdom and compassion are two sides of the same thing. You say wisdom is the substance of compassion, and compassion is the functioning of wisdom. Okay. Or the functioning of wisdom. I'm going to get into talking about karuna a little bit more here, and compassion. Yeah. It's the wish for beings to be free from suffering, right? And it's that, it actually, I think, literally translates that karuna word as trembling or quivering. And I described it this way a few weeks ago. It's that trembling, quivering in the body, in the heart, that resonates with the pain, the suffering of yourself and others. Okay, it's a feeling. It's not just feeling bad about suffering, it's an active, engaged quality. It's almost participating in the suffering. Okay? But not becoming overwhelmed by it, and also not holding this kind of judgment towards it. This is bad. I mean, the sense, the feeling that it's bad is going to be there, but the idea, the concept this is bad, that's going to get in the way, actually. So it's a clear seeing of suffering without looking away, combined with a heartfelt wish to alleviate it. A seeing, a desire that also maintains spaciousness to respond skillfully. And it's not passive or resigned. It's very active, mobilized, energized. It isn't pity, looking down on those who are suffering, including oneself. It's not getting overwhelmed or drowning in the pain. It's not turning away because it's too much. It's not fixing or rescuing from a place of superiority, and it isn't collapsing into hopelessness. Sometimes it can feel like too much. So in that case, take care of yourself to establish the capacity again. It can be too much. I didn't want to, shame that feeling. But it's important to recognize when you're feeling overwhelmed and when you're feeling that too muchness, you don't have the ability to really be compassionate, to really have this quality, to practice this quality, right? So take care of it so you can. It takes practice to be kind, to be compassionate. We develop the skill. It's got a feeling quality of tenderness, but not fragility. Yeah, a strong tenderness. Yeah. I think our society is not very good at strong tenderness, is it? Yeah. Open cackles in the room, as if it isn't. But many people are. Fortunately, many people are. You need to be mature, a mature relationship to your own vulnerability, and to be tender without being fragile. Strong enough to stay present with difficulty, warm, not cold or clinical. This is important. Compassion has a warmth to it. Whereas equanimity, which is the fourth of the Brahma Viharas, can tend towards coolness. Okay, that would be the near enemy of equanimity, would be that it can become detached and cool and cold. One of the near enemies of karuna, or compassion, is that there's overwhelm and that there's too much energy, too much heat. Too much. Ah! And that can happen too. Not to say that isn't there, but hold that, the compassionate mind, opening towards pain rather than contracting away. So I think I'm starting to really dislike the word suffering. I feel like it can be a bit of a shortcut, especially for us Buddhists, because like Mahayana Buddhism, what are we about? Relieving suffering. Got it. And there's actually real power in that focus. I have found that in my life. It's like, wow, like it has helped me really activate my vows, like really get my vows straight. But it can also be a little bit of a shorthand, maybe a little bit too much of a broad brush, right? So here's some ways that we can suffer: physical pain and illness, pain in your or other people's bodies, chronic illness, aging, injury, emotional and psychological suffering, grief, loss, heartbreak, anxiety, depression, fear, loneliness, rejection, existential suffering, confusion, meaninglessness, spiritual crisis, the suffering inherent in impermanence and change, losing that which we love. Systemic collective suffering, oppression, injustice, poverty, war, displacement, violence, environmental destruction. Anybody counting? How many of those forms are you experiencing right now? Probably more than one. How many are present in the world right now? How many are present in the room right now? Probably all of them. How many are present in the world right now? All of them times 1 billion. All right. So. It's just the nature of this realm. Yeah. To have these forms of suffering present. Always emerging, rising and falling. Yeah. Here's some of the common challenges in karuna practice. The overwhelm. There's too much suffering, I can't bear it. I just read a litany of 20 forms of suffering. You know. Did we feel overwhelmed? Did you feel overwhelmed? Hopefully not. Hopefully not. We're in a good, solid space here of being with this. Right? But the near enemy, like I said, of karuna is overwhelm. This feels like too much. So this is where equanimity comes in, is you need to open up your space, your interior space. Just to hold or to not hold, you know, to hold what you can. So just being present in the moment, right? What's manifesting for you in the moment, and not extending your feeling and your imagination. I mean, the imaginal, I'm using that in the active sense of a level of consciousness, the imagination that reaches out to connect with other beings. You know, don't do that. If you're getting overwhelmed, you can reset by bringing it back in to your body and your space and your zone. Okay. And then really recognize that small acts matter, presence matters. Always. Small acts matter, presence matters, and invocations matter. Where you bring your mind and where you speak and what you speak into being. Okay. There's another near enemy which is kind of related to that overwhelm, which is I want to fix everything. Yeah. I think the good move to make here is kind of where we started, which is you ain't ever gonna fix everything. Not in the world, not in your life, not in your family. You're never gonna fix everything. Our lunar eclipse tomorrow? Lunar eclipse tomorrow is in Virgo, right? So all of us Virgos or Virgo risings with our compulsion of perfectionism, and I speak as a Virgo rising, Eshin. Virgo,
Me too.
okay. That perfectionist quality is going to be triggered and can be healed. It can be healed. Okay, and we all got a certain element of that. We've all got a certain element of that. Fixing it, perfectionism, all right? Let go of the outcome. Hold on to the desire. Hold on to the wish that things be peaceful, that people be free from suffering without being attached to the outcome of it happening in the way that you want it to happen. Right? Usually it's both. I want it to happen, and I want it to happen this way. We've got to let go of that. Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's really important to do this, what we're doing. I'm really grateful to everybody to come together, you know, in practice together. Right? This makes it all work. You know, when we all come together with the aspiration to heal and whole ourselves, it's waking up to our true nature. Yeah, it's doing this practice of Buddhism and to recognize yourself as the awakened one. Okay, shining through, your biological identity, whatever that names. But you are Buddha. You are the awakened one. Just looking out through the eyes of your body. With the mind in the ideas, in the experiences of your life, your human life. But it's Buddha that's shining out. It's Buddha that sees. It's Buddha that knows. It's Buddha that's awake. So you wake up, awakening, we're all waking up to that truth, that reality, that identity, who we are. And that awakeness naturally wants to relieve suffering, relieve pain for all beings. It's just so natural. It's like one hand, one hand is hurting and the other hand doesn't hesitate to come and take the thorn out of the other hand or put a bandage on it. There's no hesitation. This hand doesn't think, oh, it's the right time to do it. I don't have time to take the thorn out now. It's very natural. Right? So, but that's what we're doing here. We have to be intentional about it, coming together and doing it together. And then it happens. We really do. We wake up together. So each of our individual practice supports and resonates with each of the others of us. And then we can provide a capacity and a power and a love and a radiance, to those who are more affected by these things than we are. There's so many people who are so much more affected by so much of what's going on. Just again, not to diminish anything of what we're all going through ourselves, but let us be lighthouses, beacons of light and bodhisattva together.